everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build and welcome to another build in my little Harry Potter series that I recently started here on my channel. This is the second Harry Potter inspired build that we're doing, and as you can probably already tell by the title and also just like what we have done so far, this is going to be for Privet Drive, which, I mean, I'm sure that we're all familiar with the story. I'm sure that we all know what's going on here, but this is, of course, the home where Harry Potter actually grew up. He is living with his aunt and uncle and also his cousin, and he does not have a great time here. His uncle and aunt, they do not like him because Harry isn't normal. He's, of course, a wizard, and his family, they don't treat him well. They simply do not treat him well. He does not have a good childhood here. Also, his cousin Dudley is literally the worst. He literally torments Harry every day. And poor Harry, he just has a terrible childhood here. That being said, this is a classic home in the series. I feel like this has to be done. Like, if I'm doing a Harry Potter series, I have to do for Privet Drive because it's just so iconic. It's a little row house. Well, it's not that little. Actually, it's a pretty decent size home. And it's actually like a townhouse or row house. So that's what I decided to do as well. I actually ended up building 3 houses in a row here. I started here on this lot in San Sequoia, but I actually ended up moving the house to a larger lot because I didn't have the space to put 3 houses next to each other. This lot was just ever so slightly too small. And so I actually, later on, you'll see that in a little while, I ended up moving it over to a different lot where I actually ended up creating my own little street as well. So it ended up being a little bit more of a, I guess, DIY Privet Drive, other than making use of, as opposed to making use of the street that's just like kind of there in the world, which was my initial plan. But I ended up doing like my own little street and stuff, and I actually really like how that came together. So that was a lot of fun for me to do. And as you can see, I kind of just went ahead and tried to do the floor plan for this house because I feel like that is just kind of important for these types of builds, because there is sort of like a set floor plan for these houses as well. So I really just wanted to try and capture that. And also the bedrooms upstairs, I don't think there is necessarily a existing floor plan for these bedrooms upstairs. This is an existing house, like this is not entirely a set. The exterior of this house is a real thing that exists, and so it was kind of fun to work off of reference pictures. I'm sure there are existing floor plans of the real house out there as well. I just went off of what the house looks like on the inside from the movies. I'm not sure if they used sets or the actual house for that, to be honest. I think it was sets, but I could be wrong there. And then of course there's the bedrooms, and like I said, I didn't really have reference for the upstairs floor plan, but I kind of just like recreated it from my imagination to the best of my abilities, and we ended up having 3 bedrooms here. I do believe this house in reality, or maybe like in the stories as well, does have 1 extra bedroom. I think they do have a guest bedroom somewhere. And then Dudley, of course, at the start of the series, like the movies and also the books, has 2 bedrooms because he is so incredibly spoiled. And he has all the most expensive stuff and like toys and bikes and TVs and consoles and stereos and whatnot. But he is not careful with his stuff at all, so everything always breaks. So he has a second bedroom where he, I think, basically stores all his broken toys or the stuff that he doesn't like anymore or that he doesn't want to use. So he has 2 bedrooms, and then I think there is another bedroom that's a guest bedroom in this house. But I ended up having 3 bedrooms total, actually, and then of course Dudley's second bedroom actually is given to Harry at some point when he becomes literally too big to sleep in the cupboard under the stairs, which is, of course, the classic Harry Potter bedroom for at least the first movie. I think in the second one, yes, in the second one, he actually already has Dudley's old bedroom. That's why I also put like those bars. You can kind of see that. I went by pretty quickly, but I put those bars in front of Harry's bedroom's windows. Because if you don't remember, or maybe if you do, in the second movie and in the second book, he has that bedroom, and his uncle actually puts those bars by the window because he doesn't want the owl, he doesn't want Hedwig to go outside. Like, he doesn't want people to see the owls flying by. I think that is like a main thing for him. And so he puts bars in front of Harry's windows and it's a whole thing. But then at some point, of course, Ron and his brothers come pick him up in the flying Ford Anglia, like the blue flying car. And they actually break down the bars in front of his windows and then they rescue Harry and Hedwig, of course, as well. So that happens. But I kind of wanted to do a little reference and put those bars in front of the window. So I did that. So here you can see I actually moved over the houses to another lot. I believe this is a 40 by 30 in the world of San Sequoia. I know that the surrounding area here just doesn't make any sense and doesn't look like where the house is actually located, which I believe is called Little Whinging, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not exactly sure, but that's, I think, where it's located. And it doesn't look anything like this at all. We have, in San Sequoia, we have a literal ocean and stuff in the background. So it's not the same vibe, but I just really liked the main, like the overall area here. I liked the trees, the greenery, and the kind of like serene look and feel of this area. So this is where I decided to build it. I wasn't sure what else, like what other world in The Sims would be good for this. I feel like maybe Brindleton Bay would be good, or Henford-on-Bagley, but I feel like Henford-on-Bagley, the downtown area is a little bit too like rural, a little bit too rustic. Not really the vibe. And then of course we have Newcrest, which could have worked, but I feel like this area here in San Sequoia actually works pretty nicely. Just don't mind the ocean in the back and you're good to go, I guess. But here you can see I was just kind of trying to figure out how I was going to make this look like for Privet Drive, or just Privet Drive in general. So I created my own little street here. I was using a lot of debug, like chain fences and stuff like that to kind of, I was definitely working off of reference pictures for Privet Drive as well, and you could really see the little driveways and like the chain fences that they have around. And so I was trying my best to kind of make this look at least somewhat like the reference pictures that I was looking at. I think I did a pretty decent job with what I had available to me in the game, but it's not perfect, clearly. That being said, though, I did have a lot of fun with this, and I just thought it was so much fun. It was definitely taking me a little bit more time than I thought it would, since the shape of the house is actually pretty well, I mean, just like not that complicated. It's a pretty regular home, I guess, and it's not that large. It's not that small, but it's not that large either. And I just feel like the shape of the house and like the layout and stuff, I had that done and I had that down pretty quickly. But then the landscaping is what definitely took me a little while, since I was creating my own little street here with the driveways. I definitely parked some cars as well, some debug cars. I use a lot of debug here, actually. Because there was just a lot of stuff in debug that I felt like could kind of work for these types of houses. And then of course these are row houses. So for each house I did do the exact same floor plan, the exact same window situation. So that is all basically the same for every house. You can see that, maybe you can't see that actually, but now that I'm pointing it out, you probably can, that the windows on the ground floor and the second floor aren't even, but I am fixing that in a little bit here, so it won't stay that way, thankfully. But I was definitely messing around with the window placement for this for a very long time. I definitely had to cut some of that footage out of the speed build because it was just a little bit too much. But yeah, I will be fixing that mistake in case you're yelling at your screen right now, which I would completely understand. Also, as you can see, I'm building this in the fall time. We don't really ever see Privet Drive in the fall time because Harry obviously only spends his summers here. So we actually kind of only see Privet Drive in the summertime, but I just really liked the lighting in the fall. I liked the colors of the trees. So that's what I decided to go with anyway, and I think it looks pretty cute. I was thinking of maybe doing it in the winter time and making it snowy, but I don't know, that was too cozy looking almost for Privet Drive, you know, because it's a fun street to work on, and I feel like this actually looks really cozy, but if you know the story, it's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of a toxic place. We don't really want to be here. But because it's fall time in real life, almost winter time actually, I just kind of felt like building in the fall. I've been building in the fall for the majority of my builds lately, but there's definitely also some winter builds coming. So, oh, actually I already did one of those. Yeah, I did one winter snowy build already here on my channel. So I'm sprinkling them in, but at the same time, I'm kind of still enjoying these fall vibes, especially for this exact lot. I think it's just very, very cozy here. Of course, number 4 Privet Drive is going to be the one here on the corner, which I believe, if my reference pictures were correct, For Privet Drive is actually on a little corner. There is a neighboring house on the left side too, but it's a little bit of a different house, I believe. And obviously I had to stop building connected houses at some point, so I just decided to go for 3 houses in a row, and then For Privet Drive is going to be the one on the corner, and also the only one with a sunroom in the back, which is of course classic because we have Aunt Marge, who Harry essentially just kind of like blows her up and she flies out of the window, and it's just such an iconic moment from the Prisoner of Azkaban. It's just such an iconic moment in the movies, also in the book, but in the movies, of course, we just have that classic scene where she's just like holding up her finger because she wants to lecture Harry, and then like the finger blows up and like her buttons fly off of her blouse in Dudley's face, and it's just like such an iconic scene in the movies. So of course that's where the sunroom in the back really gets a little moment there, because she like kind of blows up and flies, I believe, out of the door into the backyard, and then she flies away. And there's that classic moment, that classic scene that just lives in my brain rent-free, where you see Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia just like waving at her and like yelling at her while Aunt Marge is flying away, and that whole scene is like in slow motion. You just kind of see them like waving in slow motion. It's just so classic. I love that visual so much. I think it's so good. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just a little bit of a Harry Potter nerd, but I just love it so much. I think it's so fun. So after I was finally done with the main like landscaping of the house, it's not too landscaped in the sense that I wanted everything to look very manicured. There's definitely some flowers and some pretty bushes and stuff around to make it look at least like lived in and kind of blended into the surrounding area. But for the most part, it's very, very manicured, because that is what these people would have. These people are all very normal. The classic line from the books, I believe, is the Dursleys from For Privet Drive were perfectly normal, thank you very much, or something along those lines. So that is what I was kind of channeling. Perfectly normal, thank you very much. That was like my inner vibe for this house, or at least what I was trying to channel. And then, yeah, the inside of this house is just almost very like 70s inspired, with a lot of outdated floral patterns, outdated mismatched patterns, a lot of pinks and browns, and light colors combined with like deeper brown tones, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I was trying to do here as well. There's pretty good reference pictures for the main layout of this house, so that's what I was working off of here. For the living room, they have the classic fireplace, of course, where all the letters to Hogwarts come flying out of on Sundays, because Vernon's like, oh, you know what I love about Sundays? No post on Sundays. And right when he says that, all those Hogwarts letters come flying through the fireplace. Or is it the fireplace? First the fireplace, and then the letterbox and the door, I believe, like the mail slot in the door as well. It's kind of insane, and it's just so funny. I'm hoping I'm recalling all these scenes correctly, but they just kind of live in my brain. And I just love it so much to just kind of sit here and talk about it. Yeah, here you can see I'm kind of trying to figure out the main layout for the living room, and I think it worked out really, really nicely. At the very end, I'm kind of sad that I didn't do that in the beginning, because I feel like it really gives the whole room just like a different feel. But I ended up swapping out the floor. You can see that I'm using like a dark brown floor, like a wood floor here. I know that's not what they have in the movies, but I couldn't really figure out what it was. And then it hit me, because I just couldn't really get a good look at the floor. I saw that it was some sort of blue or green color, but it didn't really look like carpet. It looked like a linoleum or something, but it was very difficult to tell. But then I actually kind of just decided that I wanted to swap it out for carpet, since that's maybe a little bit more time appropriate as well. This house is very 70s, very like flowery 70s kind of inspired in my opinion anyway. So I decided to go for a green carpet, like a flowery green carpet. in the living room. And I definitely feel like that enhances the space so much, and it definitely makes it look more like 4 Privet Drive, in my opinion. I didn't do that until the very end though, or like the very end after I like am done with the kitchen and everything. And I was like looking at the place and I was like, okay, this definitely looks like 4 Privet Drive, but something's off. And that's when I knew that I had to swap out the flooring. So yeah, that's what I did. Of course, the Dursleys, what's classic about their house is they have so many baby pictures of Dudley in the house, because obviously Dudley is their little prince. He is so spoiled. He is a terrible, terrible boy, but his parents love him. He is their little prince, and Dudley gets what Dudley wants. So there's 2 TVs in this house, or in this living room space, because I think that's because Dudley wants to be able to watch TV when he's eating dinner. So there is a TV in the dining room, there's a TV in the living room. And then, like I said, there's just a bunch of baby pictures and like child pictures of Dudley around the place because his parents love him so, so much. And those little baby pictures that came with the storybook nursery kit were absolutely perfect for that. I'm so sad that we didn't get more, that we don't have more like picture frames with baby pictures or just like little family pictures in general. There's that really cute one from the basement stuff pack, or no, the basement kit. It's not a stuff pack, it's a kit that I placed on the wall a few times because there are some cute little family displays there as well. And those were actually perfect for the main look and feel of this house. So I used that, but for the rest, I was just kind of using different little collages of pictures and kind of pretending, imagining that those frames were filled with pictures of Dudley, clearly. So yeah, that's what I did. We do have a really nice like dining area here in the back as well, and then I'm getting started on the kitchen. I think what's classic and what's kind of different for this house is that the layout is very open. I was decorating this over on Twitch, and I was talking to some friends in chat who are actually from the UK, and they were telling me that it's incredibly uncommon for especially houses like this to have a fully open floor plan. I think we were talking about this on stream, and I think why they did that is because it's for filming purposes. It's a set. It was just like more convenient to have it this way. But in reality, I think these houses would definitely have more closed off floor plans. The living room and the dining and kitchen would definitely be separated. If not, like dining, kitchen, and living room, all 3 of them separated. So that's actually what I ended up doing for the other 2 houses. I did not record that, by the way. I only recorded me decorating 4 Privet Drive because that's what this entire build is all about. But obviously I did want the other 2 houses to be functional too, because if you wanna, I don't know, maybe play as the Dursleys' neighbors, I'm not exactly sure. You could do that if you want to. There's 2 more houses here. So I think that'd be really fun to actually be able to use this lot as a residential rental. If you have for rent in your game, then that could be really, really fun. You could actually move the Dursleys in here maybe and like play as their neighbors. I thought that would be kind of fun. But it was just a little bit too much for me to fully decorate the other 2 houses as well. I could have easily done that, and then this would just be a very long speed build, which is kind of fun. But I really didn't want to take away the attention from this actual like 4 Privet Drive, the main focus point, I guess, of this house. But the other 2 are decorated, and I did create floor plans. They're move-in ready, which means that I have full-on kitchens in there, there's bathrooms in there, and just a really small amount of just like basic furniture. So we have a couple of beds, we have a couch, I do believe there's a dining table, stuff like that. So it's definitely move-in ready, but it's very empty and very sad. Of course, towards the end of the video or after the speed build portion, we will jump into the game and I'll show you those houses in real time, including for Privet Drive. So I'll just show you everything. But you can kind of see what I was thinking would be the initial floor plan for these houses. Also, this one's the only one with a sunroom, which I think is accurate to what is actually going on in the street. I do believe the Dursleys are the only one in their little street with a sunroom. I feel like Petunia would be so incredibly proud of her sunroom. She would be bragging about it to the neighbors all the time. Probably that's kind of what I was imagining in my head. You can see by the way that I placed the green carpet, which is perfect. That's exactly what it needs to be. And I feel like it looks so much more like 4 Privet Drive now. Here in the sunroom, I put a little game table. I thought it would be fun to have that. It could also it looks like kind of like an extra dining table, but it's actually a functional game table in the game. So you could use that for The Sims to just like play games and stuff and sit down, which I think is kind of fun. I feel like the kitchen turned out very classic too. It's very cluttered because I was imagining that Dudley clearly wants all his goodies, all his snacks. So we have fruitcake, we have waffles, all the stuff is like kind of out on the counter. I was using a reference picture from the first movie where it's Dudley's birthday and there's a gazillion presents in the dining room and like all the stuff for waffles and stuff out on the kitchen counter. So that's kind of what I was going off of for the kitchen. Then of course we have the classic cupboard under the stairs, which I kind of had to take a little bit of creative freedom for this because we can't actually create stuff under staircases that would be functional. I kind of could, like there is, as you can tell, there is a little bit of space literally under the stairs. I could put a door there and just kind of fake that room into something like a little cupboard, but I wanted to have just a little bit more space. So I decided to create this cupboard here kind of in front of the stairs or behind the stairs, depends on how you look at it, I guess. And I just created this tiny little cupboard looking room and I made it very yucky with a bunch of stains and spiders, cobwebs, a very sad little bed on the floor and just an old broken bookcase and just a couple of toys for Harry to play with. I believe he has some like little toy horses that's shown in the movie at some point, so that's kind of what I put there. But that's Harry's cupboard under the stairs. So timeline wise, this room doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we do have his cupboard under the stairs, but then we also have his bedroom in Dudley's old second bedroom with the bars in front of the window. So I did decorate that one for Harry as well. But that's kind of the fun part when it comes to these builds from the movies and the books. I just kind of like to, no matter where it is in the timeline, realistically, I just kind of want to, if I can, I want to represent it in the build. I just feel like it's so much fun to kind of think of different areas in the story and like different little Easter eggs or things that happen or things that you can kind of refer back to a specific moment in the stories. I think that's just so much fun and to just kind of think about that as well. And then if I can, I put it in these builds because I just love that so much. So right off the bat here, we have Harry's bedroom because I was just way excited to decorate this one. The other rooms, his aunt and uncle's room and then Dudley's room, I was just kind of, I don't care that much. It was fun to do Dudley's one though. Like that one was really fun to do because it's kind of sometimes just fun to, because we don't actually have reference for it. It's probably described in the books at some point, but it's never shown in the movies. So it's kind of fun to channel what I think Dudley's room would look like and just kind of do that here in this house. That was just kind of fun to do. But of course here we have Harry's room, which is by far the smallest room. I went for a stinky brown carpet for the upstairs. I thought that was very fitting. And from what I could see in some of the screenshots and like scene pictures that I could find, the wallpaper in here is kind of like yucky greenish, so that's what I did here. Also, I feel like the layout of this room changes a few times. We do see it in a couple different movies, and I think the layout is at least different twice. It's different in the second movie versus the third one anyway, and so I think it just changes a few times. But I just went for this layout because it made the most sense here with a bed in the corner and then a desk under the window. I also put a cage for Hedwig. I'm kind of pretending that Hedwig is just flying, which she can't be flying, roaming free outside right now because there's bars in front of the window. But it's just every time I watch the movies or read the books, that specific thing just makes me so anxious. I hate it so much. I hate the thought of Hedwig being locked in the cage, not being able to fly outside. Like I just, it gives me the ick. It makes me so anxious. I know it's fake, but literally I hate the feeling that it gives. So I didn't actually trap an owl in the cage because I felt bad. I did do that for Ron's bedroom when I built the burrow, but that was just kind of more as a joke. And also the owls can kind of free roam there, so, you know, it was not like a sad thing. But in these movies and in the books, I hate it so much when Hedwig is trapped in her cage. It just makes me so insanely anxious. But for the rest, Harry's room is a lot of fun. I tried to make sure there is a lot of little envelopes with mail that he probably got from his friends. There is, again, that suitcase in the corner, which clearly came with Lovestruck and is supposed to be for something else, but it literally looks like a Harry Potter like trunk. It's perfect. I had to place it in the corner, so that's what I did. And then after Harry's room, of course, here we have Dudley's bedroom. And Dudley, of course, like we already went over, is incredibly spoiled. I think it's described in the books at some point, and when I was decorating this, someone in chat actually looked it up, and it said something about how many TVs he had, how many consoles, how many video games and whatnot. And like something about a bike too, I believe. So that's just kind of what I was trying to create here in his room. And of course the movies take place, like the books and the movies take place in the 90s. So I was trying to make stuff look very 90s like. So we have those classic TVs. He also has like a broken TV just kind of sitting in the corner. He has a very old 90s looking computer, which for the time probably was the newest, most expensive computer they could find. I also placed a bicycle in his room because that's probably his brand new bike. And then in the garage, we also have a garage here for this house. I actually ended up placing a bunch more bikes and like old toys and electronics that Dudley probably broke at some point, but he can't keep them in his second bedroom anymore because that's Harry's now. So I ended up placing all that extra stuff in the garage. Also a punching bag, because I do believe that Dudley at some point in the story starts boxing. I'm not exactly sure when that happens, but I do believe that happens at some point. So I had to place like a little punching bag in the garage. Also, isn't it said that he uses Harry as a life-size punching bag from time to time as well, which is just incredibly, like, it's horrible. It's so bad. And then here, of course, we have the main bedroom, which is going to be Vernon and Petunia's bedroom. This one's kind of boring. It's very normal. Thank you very much. You know, that's what I was trying to channel for this. And they do just have this like nice furniture set from the Discover University pack. I thought that that one was absolutely perfect. We have like a nice red bedding on the bed here. They do have a walk-in wardrobe here, which I think is very nice for them. But yeah, for the rest, their bedroom is actually pretty normal. I think I ended up placing another bookcase in here as well because I just needed to fill up the space a little bit. So I just put that little shelving unit. And then another rug. I know that some people find it weird when people put rugs on carpet, but I just use rugs in The Sims because it looks pretty, you know, because it adds a little bit of something to the room. Not because you actually would want that or need it on carpet, I don't think. I don't know. I've never lived in a house with carpet before, so I wouldn't know if you would actually want a rug over your carpet in real life. I don't know. I don't think it matters that much though. And then of course here upstairs we have a hall bathroom. There's also a hall bathroom downstairs, which is off of the kitchen. It's never really shown in the books or in the movies, or described, I don't think, if they or where there is a hall bathroom downstairs. But I, of course, ended up placing one anyway because I wanted this to be nice and functional for gameplay. And then here, the final room that we're doing is actually the garage, where, of course, I had to place all Dudley's broken stuff, all his broken electronics and whatnot that he doesn't use, that he wasn't careful with. But of course he doesn't want his parents to throw it away either because it's his and he cannot let go of his possessions because he just simply can't. So we have that in here. There's a punching bag here to kind of make it a little bit more functional, and then an extra bookshelf and some counter space as well. A lot of boxes, again, probably with old toys and stuff. So I basically the garage is very simple, but I try to make it look like storage essentially, which I think turned out just fine. And then we, of course, have the backyard, which I think in the movie looks a little different, but this is what I had to work with anyway. So I decided to put a nice outdoor dining table. We also have a grill and a seating area. And of course, I feel like Petunia would definitely try to listen in on the neighbors all the time. So I ended up placing a little gardening area all the way over to the side of the backyard, right by the fence, so that she can listen in on the neighbors whenever they are outside in the yard or when they have their windows open or whatnot. Clearly, she wants to always be on top of all the gossip. She wants to know exactly what's going on with everyone. She's very, very nosy. and she wants to just know everything. So here right by the fence, I placed a nice little bench where she would probably sit and hang out and drink her tea and listen in on the neighbors. And also I placed some planter boxes so she can do some gardening there. But then that's going to be it for Privet Drive. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have Privet Drive in the game. As you can see, it looks perfectly normal. There is nothing out of the ordinary here in this street. Everyone just has their little driveway. It all looks very neat and just, you know, very normal. We have a very normal amount of landscaping here in the little front yards. For some of the front yards in the reference pictures I was looking at, I could literally see like a bird bath and a little sundial as well, so I decided to place those. There's another one here as well. And then I basically just tried to blend in this entire lot to the best of my abilities and have it look like an actual little street. I know it really doesn't because we have a sidewalk and stuff here, but we can kind of, you know, we can pretend. So yeah, this is the front of the houses, and then in the back, of course, we have their little backyards. So this is the Dursleys' backyard with their sunroom, these bars in front of Harry's window. So sad. We just have some landscaping in the back and some planter boxes. These backyards are completely empty because, like I said, those houses are move-in ready, but they're not fully decorated by any means. But I will, of course, show you those houses in a second as well. But first, let's go take a look at 4 Privet Drive, shall we? So when we go inside, we just immediately enter into this entryway, this hallway, where we have the staircase going up. There's a nice area to hang your coat and a mirror. It's very neat, nothing over the top, cluttered or anything. It's just very put together. And then right off the bat here, we have the cupboard under the stairs. If you will, take that with a grain of salt. It's not literally under the stairs, but we can pretend. So this is where Harry sleeps. There is a bunch of cobwebs. There is mold. There are old boxes, but then also just a couple of toys that he managed to kind of get for himself. So that's there too. And then this bed is just so sad. I don't think this would be fully functional because I think there's just like too much stuff around the bed for Sims to actually be able to reach that, but that's okay. I just really wanted to capture the vibes of the cupboard under the stairs here, and I think that worked out perfectly fine. Then, of course, we have the rest of the house here. I definitely feel like this green carpet, if there was ever a moment to use it, this is it. I feel like it pulls together the entire house. It's so ugly, but in the best way. And it definitely looks a lot more like Privet Drive with this carpet versus with the wood floors, I feel. So yeah, here we have the living room. Of course, the classic TV in the corner. There's a bunch of baby pictures of Dudley around. We have the fireplace and then just some art and more pictures everywhere. A friend of mine in chat suggested that they could definitely see Petunia being a collector of like little porcelain animals. So I thought that was perfect, and I placed some of those here on the fireplace. In the back here, we have the dining room. I think in the movie, the orientation of this is slightly different, but I just liked how this table looked in this specific orientation for this space. So in the corner here, we have another TV, of course, because Dudley wants to be able to watch his shows when he's eating. And then in the back here is where we have the fairly spacious kitchen, actually. They do have that classic island counter in the movies. I decided to place some tea because this is, of course, a British household. So we have a kettle and we have some more like tea stuff. And then here I was kind of channeling Dudley's birthday morning, where we have waffles being made with all the toppings. There's like fruit cake that he probably took a bite and he was like, ew, I hate this, now go make me waffles. So Petunia was like, okay, honey, I will make you waffles now. So that's kind of what's happening here. And then I did create a bathroom here, which I don't think is what they have, but they very well could. Like, I don't know. It's not shown or talked about, I don't think. So I just went for a full bathroom here. Then of course, there is the sunroom where I placed a game table. So your Sims can actually sit down around and play some Don't Wake the Llama or something else here. There's some nice plants, and then of course this opens up into the backyard. Over here, of course, is the garage too, which is basically just storage. We have a bunch of old bikes that are obviously all Dudley's, and just a lot of boxes and games and probably trophies that he's won doing something, or maybe Vernon bribed someone to make Dudley win those. I'm not exactly sure, but there's just a whole bunch of stuff here lying around. Going up the stairs, we have this landing, which is pretty boring, but I just placed some bookcases and another grandfather clock. Also, I thought this was a fun Easter egg because at some point, I believe Dudley just like brings Harry food and tea and stuff and leaves it out by the door. So I thought it was fun to place a couple of mugs here by the door. And then this is Harry's bedroom, of course. So he just has a bunch of like magical looking things in here. We have a bunch of books, his wand, his glasses, Hedwig's cage, a lot of letters and packages and stuff. Maybe Harry's busy writing to his friends here. I was imagining these to be Quidditch little team flags, which are the same ones that Ron has in his bedroom. So I thought that was cute that they're supporting the same team. Some school books here on his bed. Maybe he has been practicing his wizard's chess is what I was thinking. So we have a little chessboard. And then of course, just like his suitcase and maybe some clothes from school, some robes and whatnot. Yeah, that's Harry's bedroom. I think it turned out really cute. Then over here is Dudley's bedroom, which is a lot bigger, clearly. And Dudley just has everything that he wants, and yet it's still not enough in his opinion, you know? He has a gaming computer, a lot of games, an extra TV or a broken one, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he had this one brand new and then he was like, no, I want a bigger one. So now he has a bigger one here, and a console as well. There's a stereo, his brand new bike probably, and then just a bunch of posters. So that's Dudley's room. And then over here is Vernon and Petunia's bedroom, which is very normal. Just your everyday parents' bedroom. Nothing to see here, but I do think it ended up looking pretty nice, actually. And then over here is a bathroom. I was just channeling my inner Petunia, and I definitely thought that she would have like a white and light pink and like beigey tone bathroom. So that's kind of what I went for both bathrooms actually. So yeah, that is for Privet Drive. And then when we go into build mode, I can show you the other two units. So as you can see, I divided it into 3 different units here. Let me toggle off the outlines because that is just annoying. So this is what I was imagining the original floor plan for these houses to look like. They're essentially the same, but these are closed off. So we still have that hallway and then a closed off living room with the fireplace in the same spot. And then there's no sunroom, of course. So I was able to kind of turn this into a little dining room here. And then they have a kitchen here that is slightly smaller, of course, because these houses without the sunroom are slightly smaller. But I do like these closed off kitchens a lot. And then off of the kitchen, of course, that same bathroom as well. And I did the exact same thing here for the house at the end, just used slightly different colors for the wallpaper and slightly different furniture, but the kitchens and bathrooms are exactly the same. And then upstairs, the floor plans are exactly the same as for Privet Drive. So we have those same 3 bedrooms, but I turned one of them into a small study with just a desk here. And you can see that they're very scarcely furnished, but they are move-in ready, and they basically have everything that your Sims need to just start out with. There's a kitchen, a bathroom, a bed, there's even a bookcase, but no TV or computer or anything. But yeah, if you wanted to move in here, those are perfect little starter homes, I want to say. So Privet Drive is up on the gallery. The gallery thumbnail is really sad because clearly I built it basically sideways on the lot. So this is the thumbnail that you're gonna get. It's pretty sad, but that's what it is. I built it as a residential rental and it has 3 units total. And of course, one of them is fully furnished for the Dursleys. The other ones are move-in ready. And I built it on a 50 by 40 in the world of San Sequoia. So if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's going to do it for today's video. So I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery. Like I just showed you, my username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok if you like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so. And if you'd like to get notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Simmary Sims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!